Good morning out there, YouTube world. Welcome to In the Kitchen with Tally Faye. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. It's a beautiful day here in Iowa, Texas. Crisp and cold and sunshiny. Hope y'all are all doing well. I am working on a recipe today that one of my followers and I have been chatting about, and we're going to make this thing today. And this is an old-time cake, no doubt about it. Any kind of pound cake, y'all, is old-time. I mean, pound cake is pound cake, right? It has a pound of butter, hence pound cake. But this is for you, Pam. I hope you like it. We're going to do this thing together. Let's don't be scared, right? But this is a Southern pecan pound cake. And we're going to make this thing. I have everything set up and ready to start working on it. So let's get going, okay? The first thing I have to do before I do anything else, and they swear that toasting your pecans makes them just so much better. They say if you toast them one time, that you'll do it every time after that. So we're going to toast these pecans. And you can do this in the oven, or you can do it on your stovetop. And I have always done it just on my stovetop because it don't take no time, y'all. Okay? Well, this cake calls for 4 cups of pecans, okay? Look, I got in this skillet. I've got them chopped up. I didn't have a whole thing of a whole 4 cups of pecans, but I had my walnuts, and y'all know I like my walnuts, right? But you know, it's pecan. So use your pecans. I'm using what I got in my kitchen. And I'm certain that this will be just as good to us anyway. But 4 cups of toasted pecans. So what I've done here is I got me a blob of butter in there. And I'm fixing to heat this up on the stove. And you got to stand there and watch it and just stir them around, okay? So I'm going to work on that. I got to get my pecans toasted before I can do anything else, y'all. Okay? I have my oven preheating at 325 because a pound cake has to be baked for a long time and slowly because it's so heavy and dense, right? You know? So, I'm going to work on toasting these pecans. I'm just going to melt my butter down in here, stand here and stir them. And it don't take long, y'all. I don't know, 4 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. Y'all let me get these pecans toasted, and then we'll get rolling with this thing, okay? Southern pecan pound cake, y'all. How more old time can you get? Really? I'll be back after I get these pecans toasted. Alright, that took all of 3 minutes. But I got them all toasted. It smells good in here, y'all. But you'll know, you know, I just stood there and kept stirring them, y'all. And, you know, watching them. But just kept stirring them around and letting them be coated in that butter good and everything. And just, you know, until I felt like they were lightly toasted, okay? You can gauge that. Like I say, that was like about 3 minutes of me doing that. So just lightly toast them. You know, watch them, look at them, and you know, you'll know. You know, have you ever been at the fair or one of those little festivals where they do the pecans and stuff? And you know how it smells like that and everything when you're waiting to get all the different pecan goodies that they make or whatever, all the different nut things. It smells like that. So, you know, it smells good. So, here we go, y'all. We have my nuts are ready. I'm going to let them cool off a minute because I have me a little medium bowl here, and I have 1/4 of a cup of flour because this recipe calls for, where's it? Okay, 4 cups of flour, all-purpose flour, okay? Well, 1/4 of that is going to coat your pecans. So I'm going to just put this 1/4 cup in here, and we're going to dump those pecans in here in a minute and toss them and coat our pecans with this flour. What that does is help your nuts stay kind of floating in the batter instead of settling or going to one place or on it, all in one area. It helps them distribute out through the cake. That's what I've been told. Okay, so we're gonna do it. Pam, we're putting the flour on our pecans. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna let them cool off a minute just because I want them to cool off for that. Because the first thing we're gonna do is we have to add 4 sticks of butter. Start off with 4 sticks of butter, y'all. Okay? A pound of butter goes in this pound cake. So I'm going to get this. And I have to, I'm reading this now, y'all. Let's see. Beat butter on medium speed. Okay? Let me get it going. Oh, your butter needs to be at room temperature. Your eggs need to be at room temperature. And your buttermilk needs to be at room temperature. So get this stuff out early and let it be setting out, okay? You want everything to be at room temperature. But I want to let this butter beat because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our sugars. We're going to need 1 cup of regular sugar. Get that. I want to make sure this is beat up good because you got to beat this stuff fluffy, kind of like creamy and fluffy. So this will take a little, this will take a little patience here. We want to do it right. I think one of the main things in a pound cake is the texture. So obviously how you do your dough is going to be important. So we're going to beat this butter and get it creamy. Because when we add our sugars, we're going to add, we have a cup of sugar and a cup and a half of packed brown sugar that we're going to put in this butter. And we're going to beat that until it's fluffy. We're beating the butter to get it creamy. And then we're going to add our sugars and make it fluffy. Okay, we're looking at some creamy butter, y'all. Okay. Gradually add both sugars until it's light and fluffy. So here we go with our 1 cup of sugar. Go ahead and get our brown sugar while that's beating a little bit. And it says packed, so I'm going to squish it in there, y'all. 1 1/2. I'll go ahead and get this one ready. Okay. There's our brown sugar. Let me scrape the bowl. I always want to scrape the bowl, y'all. Am I already starting to make a tally-fay mess? Well, I tell you what, if that little blob of butter right there is the worst mess I make during this recipe, then I'll be doing good, y'all. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add this 1/2 cup. There it goes. Oh. Probably gonna have to pick it up for this bigger cup. You get a spoon here. I won't add all of it. I'll add, you know, like half of it or whatever. Let's get that stirred in there. Okay, there's our sugars. Scrape my bowl, and then we're shooting for fluffy, y'all. That's what we're going for, is fluffy now. We did creamy, now we're doing fluffy. Okay, let me wash this off my hands. Now, let's see what we're looking at next. Oh, while this is doing that, I'm going to go ahead and coat my pecans. Okay, 1/4 of a cup in a little old small bowl. 1/4 of a cup of your flour. And I think doing them in that butter, toasting them in that butter, that's going to help the flour stick to them even better. And y'all, it says you don't have to use toasted ones. See, I'm just going to put this thing down here. Stir it around in there and get them coated with it. But it does. It says you don't have to use toasted ones. But it says that if you ever do, you'll toast them every time after that. So. Alright. They're coated, y'all. So it ain't like they look white and stuff or whatever. That 1/4 cup must be just enough to do it, because we use 4 cups of flour in this recipe. And so 1/4 of that coats our pecans, and the 3 3/4 is where we put in our batter. Okay? Alright, let's check out this. See if we got fluffy going on here, y'all. I believe we're fluffy. Absolutely. Okay. I want to make sure I have this. Dig down in here. Okay. Alright, we're at fluffy. Let's see what's next. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, y'all. Okay, I'm getting excited. It's the little things, right? Okay, next up, it says, let me turn that on. Man, that thing always. Okay, next up it says for us to, okay, we did that. We did our sugar till light and fluffy. Add eggs one at a time, just until blended. Okay? I have my 6 eggs, and I went ahead and cracked them in this bowl so they'd be getting at room temperature. So I'm just going to try to do them one at a time like that, right? And it says just until blended. Because apparently you don't want to just keep mixing this thing, right? Okay, there's one. Two. Three. Y'all think I can get all 6 of these eggs in there without dropping double in there at a time? Looking good. Oh, I made it. And no tally-fay mess right now. This recipe ain't over, right? Okay. We got that going on. Just until blended, okay? I think that's blended. All right, now, let me get this off of here. Get it out of my way for a minute where I can work with it. Oh, it's light and fluffy, y'all. I'll be. See, look how easy it does. See, we hadn't added that flour yet. Okay. Next, it says to stir in our vanilla, which is 1 tablespoon, okay? We need a tablespoon of vanilla, and we're going to stir it in there. Apparently, we don't want to be whipping on it. There's just a tablespoon of vanilla. All right, we're going to get that stirred in. Okay. Done. Got that. Now, in a medium bowl, we're going to stir together. Oh, okay. So I have my medium bowl, another bowl here. We're going to stir together our flour, our baking powder, and our salt. So, we need 3 3/4 cups of our all-purpose flour. Okay. And it says to level it off. So, there's 1. 2. So they must want you to be pretty precise on this flour thing, right? Or as precise as you can. Alright, there's 3. What did I say? 3, oh, okay, 3 3/4. Well, I've got a little 1/4 cup measure thing here, so I'm going to do that. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there's our flour. Now, on our baking powder and salt. Okay, baking powder, we need 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. Let me get me a 1/2 teaspoon measure, y'all. Okay, so I need, make sure where I'm at on that, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder now. Baking powder. Alright, there's 1 and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And we need 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Now y'all, I think it called for unsalted butter, and my butter was salted. And like I told y'all, most of the time that don't make me any difference, but I'm going to back off of this 1/4 teaspoon of salt just a little bit, just because my butter's salted, okay? You know, I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but we did that. So there is our flour, our baking powder, and our salt. So I'm going to stir this together. I didn't have the camera on that, did I? Y'all know I'm not the greatest videographer here, and I'm by myself, so. Get that stirred up together good. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It didn't say about stirring this part in. So what I'm going to do, y'all, is get my paddle, okay? I want to get my paddle instead of my whip to stir this next ingredients in there, because I'm not positive what it wanted me to do on that. So I think the paddle is a good medium in there. All right. Now we have our flour mixture. We also have a cup, 1 cup of whole buttermilk, y'all. Whole buttermilk. Okay. We are going to, it says to alternate these ingredients, putting them into our butter mixture here, beginning with our flour and ending with our flour mixture, okay? So, I'm going to add a little bit of this here flour mixture. I'm going to add about half of it, right? Because we'll start off with that. Let that stir in there a minute. Okay. Now we're going to add our buttermilk. Room temperature, remember. Okay. Now let's add the rest of our flour mixture. Okay. I'm going to let that stir up. But it says do not overbeat this. So what I'm fixing to do is I'm going to finish it out with this spatula here. Just to make sure it's all, because all you're doing is making sure that it's combined. Ooh, Lord, it's heavy. Like a pound cake should be, y'all. Oh, Pam, I hope you're excited about this, and I hope it tastes like your aunts did. I'm excited to make it for you. I hope you're proud of it. Okay. Alright, we're going to stir the rest of this up in here, y'all, just to try to be easy with it, right? Okay. We've got that. It's combined. Good enough right there, okay? So, the last thing we're going to do here, I think. Let me check and see. Yep, until just combined. Don't overmix. Gently stir in our nuts now. Okay. Here we go with our nuts. Boy, it's got a lot of them in there, y'all. 4 cups. 4 cups of toasted pecans, okay? It says gently, so we want to make sure we get them mixed in there, though. So just kind of be easy with it and get them distributed out through there. Okay. I believe that's got it, y'all. I want a taste of it. Tastes like old butter pound cake, y'all. I love it. Okay. I have a 10-inch tube pan here. My old tube pans, I need to get me some new ones. But I hope it does good for me. But it says a 10-inch tube pan, okay? And it says to butter it and flour it. You can use the baker's spray if you want to, but either way you need to make sure that it has the flour coating on your whatever you oil it with or spray it with or whatever. But I used butter, of course. Butter it and flour it, right? Otherwise use your baker's spray. So I've got that ready. Oh, my word. Now we got to get it in here. I tell you what, I'm going to get my trusty cookie sheet, y'all. Go ahead and set it on there. Okay. Back this thing up a little bit, hopefully. There we go. Okay. Now, Lord, I got a mess. Okay. See how I can do this. Y'all just gonna have to be looking at the bottom of the bowl. I'm right-handed and I gotta do it like this. But see, it's thick, so I'm gonna spoon it in there. You don't pour this batter in there, you spoon it. It smells good, y'all. Got them toasted pecans in it. You know, I can almost oh, that's hurting my hand. Oh. I can almost understand what they're talking about doing the toasted pecans in it. How that gives it a little oomph. No wonder this thing has to bake forever, y'all. It's a bunch of batter in there. Low and slow. That's what goes on with this. I tell you what, you better have a 10-inch one. If you got any smaller pan, it ain't gonna hold it. But if you don't have the bigger one, you can make like muffins or whatever, cupcakes or whatever you'd call it. pound cake cupcakes, pound cupcakes. All right, you take your spatula and try to smooth it out a little bit, okay? About like that there, y'all. It is loaded with those pecans. Okay, and that booger is full, so I want a little more over on that side. I got it lopsided. Okay, now that makes me feel better, just because, right? Let me wash my hands. Okay, now we're going to put it in there. Look, I'll show y'all up close. See the nuts all in it? And y'all, this thing, my word, is some kind of heavy. But we are going to put it in the oven now, just like it is right there. And it says on there, 325, remember that, 325. And it says 70 to 90 minutes, okay? You're still going to have to check it and all, right? Because ovens are different. However, at 45 minutes, it says at 45 minutes to check it, peek at it, and if your crust is looking too brown, all you got to do is get you some foil and put some foil over the top, but kind of poof your foil up where, you know, if it rises a little more after that 45-minute time, you know, gives it where it don't touch your foil. But anyway, you get you some foil and put over it and let it finish baking from there. But that way it won't, you know, you want your, it's going to be plenty brown by the time 70 to 90 minutes is up, period. Okay? But, you know, if you don't want it to get too brown, and I'm like that, I want it brown and the crust thing, but I don't want it dark brown, right? So I'm going to check mine at the 45 minutes. Alright? So we're going to put it in the oven. And I'll be back after that, y'all. Get it going. Oh! There's my tally-fay fumble. Oh! I love it, y'all. You gotta love it, right? Now I've got cake batter all in the floor. Oh my goodness. Okay, 70, I'm going to put it on 70 minutes to start with. Oh. I don't want to pass it up there. Oh, okay. There we go, okay. Okay, so I've got it on that, and that's where we're going to be at until I get through, okay? Alrighty, y'all. That took 95 minutes in my oven, okay? I had to keep taking it out and checking it. I do it like every 10 minutes there at the last or whatever, and then the very last I put it in there for 5 more minutes and got it done. But I just would check it and make sure that it was done in the center. But it baked up beautifully. Pam. Look, so I've got to let it cool for 15 minutes or so, it said. And Pam, I know that, and I'm gonna cut into this cake before I do this. I know that you were talking about that your aunt, that it didn't have any kind of icing on it or anything, but I have got to put something on it, okay? But we'll get a slice of it out of there. You'll see it anyway. I'm gonna put the icing on it, but you'll see how it does when I flip it over. I'm gonna show it to you, okay? But we're going to make this little glaze that I want to make to go on it. And I have melting in this pot a stick of butter, okay? And what I've got to do is add my, let me double check on this, y'all. I've got to add me some brown sugar. Let's see, I've got to add milk, powdered sugar, and brown sugar to this butter. So I'm fixing to add a quarter of a cup, half a cup of brown sugar, y'all. I've got half a cup of brown sugar. Let me set this down here. Splash myself. Half a cup of brown sugar. A quarter cup of powdered sugar. I ain't even got the camera on it. A quarter cup of powdered sugar. So there's my half cup brown sugar, quarter cup powdered sugar. And where am I at on this? 3 tablespoons of milk. Okay? 3 tablespoons of milk. So I'm fixing to let this, I'm going to stir this up with my little whisk over here. Let this start melting. And I have to let it bubble for just a few minutes or so. Over here, let me watch it. I'm going to get it stirred up good anyway. See, I'm just getting it stirred up in there. It's just thin. We're going to let it sit here and bubble till it kind of starts thickening, I believe. My powdered sugar. Yep. Okay. I'm going to let that start bubbling for about 4 to 5 minutes. And when I come back, we'll put our almond and vanilla extracts in there and let it cook for like 1 or 2 more minutes. So I'm going to let this bubble and I'll be right back. Alright, I've got it kind of thickened like I want it. I'm going to show y'all. Put it down here a little bit. See how it's kind of bubbly and thick like that? So I let it just sit there and bubble and watched it and stirred it. Stay on it, don't walk away from it. But now that it's thickened up, I'm going to put it back on the fire, and I have to add a half a teaspoon of vanilla, okay? A half a teaspoon of vanilla I'm going to put in here. Oops, a little bit more came on there. And a quarter of a teaspoon of almond extract. There we go. Now, I'm going to get this stirred back in there. And we're going to let this sit here and bubble for 1 or 2 more minutes, y'all. Because I'm going to have to let this cool down just a little bit. It don't have to be cooled a lot, but my cake is still cooling, so, you know. Y'all, that smells good. And I'm just letting it bubble. There's nothing for you to really see. It's just bubbling real easy. I've got my fire turned down low, you know, and gonna let it bubble and stir for, like I say, a minute or 2. Just to get everything all in there real good. But like I say, stay on it. Don't walk away from it. This will be a good buttery, caramely flavored drizzle to go on top of it. Because I think that'll go great with those pecans, right? Okay, I'm going to call it, y'all. Well, there it is, see? So we're going to let it calm down a little bit. Because it is hot in there. I'm going to set it over here out of the way. Let me put these lids back on here real quick, y'all, before I have another accident. Oh, my goodness. Okay. We are supposed to, let me scoot this back over here. We're supposed to turn this cake out onto a cooling rack. So this pan here is my best thing that I have for that. We're going to see if it pops out. That's always the thing you're wanting to happen, right? Oh my goodness. Let's see how this booger's going to work. I got to get hold of it good though. Let me see. Oh, it's shaking in there, y'all. Ooh, I can smell those pecans. Woohoo! What do you think, Pam? Oh my goodness. Look. Does that look like your ants? We'll know when we slice into it, won't we? Other than don't be holding it against me that I want to put this glaze thing on it, okay? I'm excited now. Oh my goodness. Let me let it cool just a little bit. I'm going to let this cool just a little bit more and let the ice and the glaze cool just a smidgen more and everything. Okay, here we go. See, this is getting thick quickly. So we're just going to take it and just start going around it. And we just let it run down it, right? It's getting thick quickly. I'm going to have to get me a spatula and put it in the areas I want it in. I should have put it on there just a little bit quicker than that, probably. Right? Okay, let me do this real quick. Get something I can go along there and just kind of let it like this, right? Don't have to be all over it. We just want it just to give it a little bit of that here and there, right? Thankfully the cake is still warm somewhat, so that's helping it to not candy up immediately on there. Oops, I dropped a blob on the, losing some of my icing, y'all. My drizzle. Okay, I'm fixing to call this booger, y'all. I know it doesn't look like your ants with the icing on it, Pam. But the main thing is that you know how to do it without this, right? If you're wanting it to be like your auntie's was. Okay. Let's get us something, y'all, and cut this booger. I am excited to try it. I want to see what it looks like. Okay, can y'all see good? Do it like that. All right, we're gonna just cut it. I probably shouldn't be trying to cut it while it's this hot. And it is hot. Ah! I tore it by doing that. But, look, Pam. Does it look like it? What do you think? I'm gonna have to cut it and clean all this up after it cools, but I'm rushing it so much. Okay, Pam, here's the real taste. I really want to taste. It's steaming out of there, y'all. Pam, that is a good cake. That thing is delicious. The flavors. I know now why you wanted this. Y'all, you've got to try this thing. It's a Southern pecan pound cake. And I made this on request of one of my friends on here. And I sure hope that she's happy with the way it turns out, that she makes it and sees if it tastes like her auntie used to make. I was proud to make it. And I hope you like it, Pam. Thank you all. Southern pecan pound cake. Try it, y'all. It's delicious. I'll see you next time in the kitchen with Tally Faye.